Gisela requests me to give this teaching is formally. Since I arrived here at Central on 23rd, yeah, so today it's kind of like a formally give teaching at the center. So that's why I would like to do it in traditional way. Yeah, so that's why traditional way we usually start with a short prayer. Yeah, so I will do that. And this today's teaching is on about the 8 verses of transforming the mind. Yeah, so I will start with a short prayer, then afterward I will read in Tibetan language. Yeah, and I give an explanation in English, so I think I don't need to read in the English because I received this teaching, the oral translation from His Holiness the Dalai Lama a few times. So when I read it, and some of you have an interest to receive an oral translation, you can receive that. So that's why I will read all of the prayer, these teachings, and afterward I give explanation in verses and verses. Okay. Dani senjin tamche la ishi nabu le la tensho rubi sambayi tatu jebar simbisho kandang sudang drobe tse dani kun la benta shen la samba tabayi chotu jebar simbisho cholam kundu rangju la tochi nimong jemata dak shen marung sheben zentab doni dobasho rang shingen bi senjin dikdon chakwe lentong rinchen tepan tebash nyebar pewi jinzin sho Dala shenji chado shigur la so meribi chonka rangi lemba na yaka shen la buwa sho Kaan dagi penta rewa chewa kanshi shindu merib ne shena shenyen tamba tawa sho Dorna ngoy tan jubayi pende mana kuna mayi ngoy tan dungen sangwi dala lemba sho Tida kunya chejeji tobe teme ma washi Chukun yuma shebe sheme chiwa lendo sho So that's all the prayer, the 8 verses of transforming the mind. This prayer written by one of the very well-known great master, the Langritamba, Geshe Langritamba. He was one of the great master from the Kadamba lineage. Yeah, and at the time he was very well-known great master, and he had lots of students, many great masters among his students. Yeah, and this prayer, this teaching has become a very popular practice on the compassion and loving kindness, especially on bodhichitta. And this teaching literally explains how we have to do practice on bodhichitta and how we have to generate it, how we have to cultivate it. So that's why it's very short, right? In monastery, most of the monks, they memorize it because it's very short, right? Memorize it, and time to time, yeah, through the prayer, we also can practice it. We also can practice on the bodhichitta. Okay, now I'm going to give a explanation in verses by verses. So, in the first verses, it says that Dane semje tamjela ishin nobu leha tencho rubi samai tatu jebel zimbasho. That means we always have to keep the good heart. That really we have to have that wish is something like that. We really have a great opportunity to serve all sentient beings, right? So that's why it's more happier than you found lots of jewels, right? Lots of jewels. It's precious than that. It's more grateful than that. right? That's a great opportunity to serve others, all sentient. So that's why we always have to cherish it, right? Cherish it, and so that's why we always have to keep the good heart all times. That's very simple message actually, right? That His Holiness said, "This my religion is the kindness," right? That's the very simple message, but it's the most important practice. Okay, so that's why in first verses it says that we always have to cherish others. Yeah. And second verse is Kanda Sunan Tropitse, Dani Kun Lemendash, Shana Samba Tampai, Choto Jeber Zimbasho. It literally saying that how we have to practice bodhichitta, right? It's not mean that just understanding about the meaning of bodhichitta. Yeah, it's not mean that. We have to understand the meaning of bodhichitta, and we have to understand literally the way of practicing the bodhichitta and how to generate, how to cultivate it. So I already mentioned in previous class that we always have to cultivate it from day-to-day life, that when we face the problem, right? So that's why in our day-to-day life, what we have to, our attitude, how we have to keep our attitude, right? The attitude always have to yourself low, yeah, and be modest and honest. That's very important. You always kind of like, even you have a very great knowledge, great wisdoms, right? And you have a very good heart, but we always never kind of like ego, the pride yourself that I have a very good heart, that person is very bad and they don't know anything, so like they look down on others, not right thing to do. So that's why we always have to lower ourselves, right? Even you have a lot of wisdom, yeah, even you do a very good practice, but always have to lower. That's why modest and honest is very important, right? Through that way, we really can learn more and also improving our inner practice. Yeah. The reason why we have to be modest, we are cherishing others, right? Others is supreme than ourselves. We always have to respect on others, right? Through that way, we can cultivate it, the bodhichitta, the fully abstracting mind, right? Because that is the way of dealing with the destructive emotion, that destructive emotion, I. We always have that supreme inside, right? I, me, always. Because of that, all the troubles happen, right? Because of that, we find a lot of troubles because of that I. So that's why we always have to respect others. Through that way, we can reduce that self-centeredness and suppress the self-centeredness, right? And we have to cherish more to others. In the third verses, Cholam Kundu Rangjula, Dojing Yumung Jemata, Dashe Maru Shepena, Center Doni Dover shows. Here is the telling about the reasons. I already mentioned before that whatever we teach and say something, always have to rely on the reason, logical reason, right? So now here is saying that reason. Yeah. We always have to investigate it on own attitude and on mind, the way of thinking, right? And whenever it happens that negative mind arises, at that time, from the beginning, we have to suppress it. We have to try to reduce it. Because from the beginning, it's not that powerful. Or even the destructive emotion, it arises within us, but it's not that powerful. From that point, we have to try to reduce through the understanding of it destroys ourselves. If you couldn't control it, the destructive emotion, that it will destroy our peace. So that's why we have to control it. Yeah. And also it's ruin yourself and others, right? Yeah. Once you couldn't control your destructive emotion, and from that way we might do lots of bad things, right? Once you couldn't control the destructive, negative mind, then if you do something, it's also bad for others. So that's why it destroys yourself and others. Yeah, that's the reason why we have to control our destructive emotion, the negative mind, negative thoughts, right? That's the point of shows. Now the fourth verses, Rangxing Nye Besemjini, Digdung Tabwe Lentons, Rinchente Tantebashi, Nye Kavi Jensen shows. So, in our real life, right? In our real life, in society or wherever you stay, you can find lots of people that's very annoying, right? Disturbing, right? Yeah, always do something bad, right? And you are in not comfortable zone. You are very kind of like conflict zone. Always they have a lots of trouble. You always have to face the problem, right? But we should, instead of anger on them, we should practice more on compassion and loving kindness. Yeah, we have to especially dearly with them because they are very poor. And the external things, they might have a lot of things they have, but internally they are very poor. They don't have those qualities of the tolerance and patience and forgiveness and compassion. So that's why they are very poor. So that through the when we face those problems, we have to think like that. In order to anger towards them, instead of anger, we have to be more patient and forgive them and practice on compassion and loving kindness. That's the way of how to cultivate the great quality, the fully awakening mind, the bodhichitta. Okay. So here in the second sentence, means at the time being they might be very happy, right? But they will kind of like find lots of trouble in future because they don't know how to control. They never try to control their destructive emotion. So that's why that will be the ultimate causes for bring suffering, bring unhappiness, unjoy, right? So in future they might kind of like brought themselves a loss of suffering. So that's why we have to really compassionate towards those people. Okay, those people. And so here I want to share one thing. It's very important to practice the equalize and exchange yourself to others. That is one of the way to cultivate the bodhichitta. Cultivating the bodhichitta, generating the bodhichitta, there are two ways to generate the bodhichitta, right? One is that 7 causes and effect. Through the 7 causes and effect, we can cultivate the bodhichitta. And other way is we call it equalize to oneself to others. Yeah, equalize to oneself to others. That way we can practice on bodhichitta. Okay, we can achieve the bodhichitta through these two ways. There are only 2 ways to achieve the bodhichitta, right? So we have to practice either the 7 cause and effect, and also other one is that equalize and exchange to oneself to others, right? Yes, that's very powerful. One is come from the material, from the Panchaparanamita, the Abhidharma, Abhisamaya, Panchaparanamita, Abhisamaya. From that, it's talking about the 7 forms, the 7 cause and effect. Yeah, and from the Bodhisattva way of life, from Shantideva, it mentioned that through the equalize and exchange oneself to others. Yeah, either way we can generate the bodhichitta. So we have to practice it from either way. If it is more comfortable to you to practice through the 7 cause and effect, we can do that. We can do practice through the 7 causes and effect to generate the bodhichitta, and also through the equalize to exchange oneself to others. Okay, you got it, right? There are 2 ways to generate the bodhichitta. So now I want to share one short story that it happened in Tibet. Yeah, in early times. There was one monk, one of the great practitioners. It's actually he was executed at the time, but he was asked to the person who executed him before executed, he was asked, please give me 1 minute to pray. And they allowed, they permitted, give him 1 minute. And he prayed that in the yoga prayer, the Guru Yoga. In prayer, that Guru Yoga, it's prayer that Majudoi, the deep Dungego means all sentient, all the sorrow of all sentient beings repent on me. And my happiness and great merit happens to them. Yeah, to them. So that's the one of the prayer of the exchange, oneself to others. Yeah, when you suffer, we have to pray that all of sentient beings, the suffer of all sentient beings written on me. Yeah, and my happiness and great merit towards all sentient beings, to share, to distribute it, contribute it to all sentient beings. So through that way, we really can practice, even in the last moment, it's a kind of like very powerful practice. When we can do that, exchange yourself to others, right? That is how we have to do practice on the bodhichitta. Here said Dakshema in the so in the first the fourth verses, right? The means whenever you find like that opportunity to serve others, we have to be very happy. Like we found the jewels, right? We found the jewels like that. Really great opportunity, right? Great opportunity to practice on bodhichitta. That's the way of practicing the bodhichitta. We have to, we always have to cherish it whenever we find like that opportunity. And in the fifth verses, Dala Shenji Tado Shigud Laso Meripi Chonka Rangilepana Jakashana Borsho. That is the way of Bodhisattva, their life, how they practiced the bodhicitta. And that's one of the very challenging in our life, right? Because in our life, we can do good things. Some people appreciated it, right? It's quite easy to do good things while someone appreciated what we are doing, right? But if someone not appreciated or someone say bad things, even we do good things, then we couldn't manage them because we might kind of like lose our patience, right? Lose our compassion, and anger might be arise at the time. So that's for us it's a big challenge. But we have to deal with those kind of things. So here how the Bodhisattva, the Bodhisattva, how they deal with like that emotion. Here they have that motivation that even I do good things, but no one appreciated it, or someone jealous, or someone bullying me, or someone say harsh words, whatever they say, I happily accept that. I happily accept that. I never anger on them. Yeah, I happily accept whatever they say, right? And we never do that, same things like what they do. Like we just say some bad words, just saying back like that, the bad words, and sometimes we just, whatever they did, something bad, and we just do bad things, kind of like revenge. We never do that. Yeah, it's not a right way to do. So that's why we have to control that. We have to overcome that emotion. Something like that we do, we want to do something bad things towards them because they do something bad to us. So that's it's a kind of like in our life, right? We might do that. Someone do good things, we do good. Someone do bad things, we might do bad things. So that's our life, but we have to change that. Yeah, we have to change that. Instead of doing bad things, we have to be compassionate toward them. We have to do good things, right? Because it's not mean that whenever we do good things, we shouldn't have that kind of intention that if I do good things, they will do good in future. We might have some kind of hope like that, right? We have to do good for others, then they will do good good to us in future. That's actually it's not right to have a kind of those thoughts. It's not good. So that's not the right way. So here it teach us that how to deal with like those destructive emotion, right? And Chongka Rangilemba, the Jakashela Borsho means kind of like you give the kind of win. They just lose yourself. If something like that, if you just take it, if it is a lose, then you just take it. You lose yourself, and if they think it's a win to them, then just let them win. Just let them win. Lose yourself, just let them win. So yeah, because that makes them happy, right? If they think, oh, we are winning, they can't say anything, they just take it like that, and just let them win. So that's the way of they in their daily life, in their day-to-day life, they practice like that. So we have to learn through that, okay? It's right now for us it's quite impossible and it's very difficult things, but if you try hard and if you understand clearly how to do it and everything, then it's not that kind of impossible to us. Because the bodhisattva from the beginning, they are not bodhisattva, they are like us, ordinary beings. But through their determination and commitment, right, and very focus on the practicing, that makes differences to us, right? Different than us and bodhisattva. So it's also possible. It's all depend on effort and devotions. Yeah. In the 6 verses, it says that someone we really help a lot, right? Someone we really help a lot. Someone we really dear one, like kind of like relative, your friend, best friend, or among your family. You really do good to them, but at last they really kind of like betray and do lots of bad things, right? Shenyan Tampatawa means according to Bodhisattva, their view, we have to see that as our own master, great master, because they are the great master that they give us the great opportunity to practice of tolerance and compassion and loving kindness. Through that, because of them, we really understand the essence of compassion and loving kindness and the bodhichitta. So that's why we have to see that as a great master, not look at them as an enemy. So yeah, it's looks like a very hard, but it's a great way of practicing the bodhichitta. So when we talk about the bodhichitta and compassion, it looks like a very simple, but it's not that simple. But it's not impossible. We have to understand that it's possible unless we have to try hard, right? Yeah, we have to try hard to achieve or reach that level. And at last, it's kind of like dedication prayer that then directly or indirectly, my happiness or joy and great merits to dedicate it to all sentient beings. Okay. And my means all of the sorrow of all sentient mother beings, or the mother beings to repent on myself. And secretly taken upon myself. Secretly taken upon myself. Because why here it mentioned that secretly? Because the Bodhisattva, they never do kind of like show off, right? These days, even sometimes give teaching and whatever, they do good things. It kind of like, it's happened kind of like mixed with the show off, right? When we have to do something good, it's something like that everyone have to know that I do something good, right? If someone knows, we asking someone, I did like that, did you hear anything about me? So we have a that hope to something just kind of like everyone want to know what I do. So, but Bodhisattva, they just keep secretly whatever they do for all sentient beings. Actually, their whole life, they really do lots of things for only for the sentient beings, but they never kind of like say to others that I'm doing great, I'm working so hard on all sentient beings. Like that. They never share like that. They just keep secretly practicing, and they just be modest and honest. Just be very kind of like, we might think they're very low life. Yeah, very low life. They just keep. They say that much happier being a low life. Yeah, low life. It's kind of like everything is too simple to us. When you can stay in the low life. Okay. Samvidala lemba shows. Tida kunja cheje ji tope time mabashin chugun jumar shebelo shemen chingwa le show in the last verses. Thida Kunjan Trigiji means it's kind of like related with the 8 forces, the modern thoughts, the 8 modern thoughts. Like that, we some kind of like that, whatever we do something, right? It very much connected with the modern 8 modern thoughts, worldly thoughts. Can say that 8 worldly thoughts. It's kind of like someone praise me, I feel very happy, right? I do something for praising, right? And someone say bad things, I feel very sad, and maybe I feel very angry, right? So like that, most of the things what we do, it's very much related with the worldly thoughts. Something you relate, something you want, something that praising or good words and kind of like friend, right? We do lots of things for friend, right? The name, just merely name, right? The big name, the small name, and sometimes people also have that interested to look on the big name, not on the reality, that how much they have a good practice on anything. We not much investigate on that. Literally just go by name. If someone have a very big name, we might thought that that is a great person or a very great practitioner, but it's not the right way to see. We have to see in the inner great quality. That's the most important. So here, whatever we do, we really have to kind of like away from the 8 modern thoughts. Yeah, we have to do very purely. Whenever we do practice, whenever we do those chanting and meditation and recite the mantra, have to do it with a very pure heart. Then we can really receive the fully benefit to doing all that. When it mixes with when it's kind of like connectively with all those thoughts, then we couldn't get the real benefit to doing all those chanting and whatever we do. So that's why we always have to do with whatever we do with pure heart, good intention, good thoughts. That's the teaching of this in this 8 verses of the transforming the mind. Okay, and for His Holiness Dalai Lama, he always said that aspiration prayer, according to one of the aspiration prayer is that as long as space remain, as long as all sentient beings remain, I contributed to serve all sentient beings. That's the very powerful aspiration prayer. And His Holiness, he does this always, early morning, whenever he woke up, he always recite, the kind of like reciting the sentences, the verse, as long as the space remains, as long as all sentient being remains, I contributed to serve all sentient beings. That's kind of very strong motivation for yourself. Always we have to motivate it to do some good, right? For all sentient beings. That's the main essence of teaching. Teaching of how to maintain the peace, how to keep good heart, how to cultivate the bodhichitta, fully awakening mind. Yeah, yeah. I think that's all. I just give a short explanation of each verses. Yeah, and you can read more, and also you can learn more about the bodhichitta and the emptiness. Lastly, the Chukun Jumar Shepilo Shemechumalo, the last 2 sentences, it's all about the emptiness, saying that Chukun Jumar Shepilo, it's all like emptiness, right? It's all emptiness that are kind of like let's say, inherently existence, non-inherently existence. The everything exists by there dependently. Nothing can exist there by independently. So that's why we have to practice more of interdependent, interconnection. Okay. So through that way, the practice on compassion, the bodhichitta, and the practice on wisdom of emptiness. These 2 are we call the 2 wings. 2 wings to fly. 2 wings to fly to the Buddhahood, enlightenment. Yeah. So that's the great way to achieve enlightenment through the practice of bodhichitta and wisdom of emptiness. Yeah. That's so I think now Q&A is better to make it more clear. If you have any doubt, if you have any doubt on this particular teaching or anything related in your own life to something, you have any question you can ask. Feel free to ask here.